white trash. It stinks, but we must watch.
Hi, I am Ozzy the Wonder Squirrel. Don't forget to watch Evil Dead Chick on Deadites on Deck on YouTube. Oh, and subscribe, man!
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared. Be kind, be honest, be courageous. I wanna be a leader, don't be afraid. A voice whispers inside, you have the power to change the wrong. Bring vision the past, build the future. Plant positive in your garden and watch it grow. I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better, throwing out old rules and creating a new landscape that can be shared.
Howdy, gang. Hey, the poet, and welcome to Chapter 8 of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. And here in a little bit, we're going to be taking a step back. I've been talking about, I've tried to talk about it in a positive way, but I've tried to talk about staying out of those negative tar pits. But for this episode of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade, we're going to take a step back. And we're going to be reflecting on ourselves, and we're going to be talking about creating the self-love club. And I do indeed have my tea in my self-love mug here. Self-love club mug. And I've got spearmint tea. I don't know how many of you guys and gals out there like tea. But if you're watching this and you want to have yourself a mug of tea or a cup of tea, feel free. You can do that anytime, but I thought it especially warranted it this week. So we're going to get to all that here in just a little bit. I've got a lot of ideas running around in my head for the channel, for the shop. And you love tea, the poet. You're sipping on some. Awesome. What kind of tea do you have tonight? I'm partial to like spearmint tea and just mint teas in general, but I like all kinds of teas. In fact, I have a Terror Time Teas line on the shop at deaditesondeck.com if you want to check them out if you have not yet. But before we really get into the meat of this episode, I just wanted to remind you guys and gals, it's sweet tea. Oh, okay. So you're probably not having hot tea. I prefer hot tea because it's soothing to me and everything. But I have drank my fair share of like iced tea as well. But anyways, I just wanted to remind you guys and gals, there are several different ways that you can support me in the channel and get me up into those algorithms of YouTube, and it won't cost you a dime. And one of those ways is by subscribing to my channel. And not just my channel, but anybody's channel that you're enjoying the content that they're putting out. It's free. I, for one, am not going to try to stop by your house. I'm not going to be knocking on your door. I'm not going to try to look you up on Google and show up at your front door and try to minister to you or sell you cookies and candy bars or inquire why you haven't watched this video or that video or why you haven't, came to this many streams or whatever. Hey, guys, gals, I'm not going to do that. I just look at the numbers. That's all I do. Okay. So I've noticed that I have gotten a few new subscribers. So thank you to all the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. And once you subscribe, you can hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the new content that I've got coming out. And you can also share some of my videos that you particularly enjoy that you think that other people might be interested in watching, and maybe they'll want to subscribe. So if you can share a video or two here and there and tag me in it, I would be eternally grateful to you. And that's something that Kit's mentioned, and I hadn't even thought about that until she mentioned it. Also, you can hit the like button on stuff you especially enjoy. And heck, if you like it all, hit that like button all across the board, folks. And here's one more way that you can support me and the channel, and it won't cost you a dime, won't cost anybody you tell about the channel a dime. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the sharing of videos and tagging people, tagging the channel owner in those. Is you can share with friends and family members that you think might enjoy the content that I'm putting out as well. You can share my channel handle with them at Deadites on Deck. And if you feel so inclined, you want to send a few bones my way, I mean, you can join the channel, you can join my Patreon, or you can head on over to the horror shop at deaditesondeck.com. It's really easy to remember. If you remember my channel name, you can surely remember the shop URL. So I've got all kinds of stuff on the site. And I'm planning on putting some more on there soon as I get off my lazy butt and do that. And also, if you're not a horror fan, hey, I do custom work. There's a handy dandy form on the homepage of the shop site, and you can fill that out and tell me what it is you so desire. If you're looking for shirts or hats for a baseball team, or you have a business or side business, you got a friend or family member that's got a business or side business that needs logos put on t-shirts and hats, and if you want tote bags and mouse pads, etc., etc. And I would be willing to work with you and help you create a logo if you don't already have one created. You can say, hey, Dana, this is what I would like, and I will work with you to get your dream logo on shirts and hats and mouse pads, etc., and tote bags as well. I'm also going to be soon putting up podcaster and live streamer customized jackets. They are going to be $150, folks, but these are customized, folks, and they're one of a kind. And, you know, if I want to do it upright and I want to get you quality materials. So quality materials cost, plus my time to do it. And, you know, I hate to say it, but I need to make a little bit of profit off of them. So when there's overhead, you got to up price them a little bit or you will never make a profit off of anything. So I hope people understand that going in. Also, I will offer bulk discounts if you want to order t-shirts and hats or what have you in bulk. I will gladly give you a discount on those. And also, I have a flat rate of shipping of $6. That doesn't matter if you get one shirt or hat or whatever, or 100 or 200. It's still going to be a flat rate of $6 shipping. Okay. Can't get that too many places nowadays. And now that I got all the housekeeping stuff out of the way, we're going to go on and get into the meat of this episode, which is reflection and the self-love club. Okay. First of all, everybody needs to take some time to reflect on things, you know, and that it not only means reflecting on you and your emotions and your state of happiness with what you're doing with whether it's what you're doing with your life, it's your job, or it's primarily a hobby. Now, I know some people do make money on things like YouTube, etc., etc., but not everybody does, right? Or if they make it, it's, here and there, Like me, I'm not making too much right now at all. But this is not meant to be a stream about guilting y'all into giving me some money. But it ebbs and flows. Sometimes I make a little more money. At one time, about every 6 to 9 months, I was making $100, which I ain't gonna turn down that. I would have to be crazy not to turn down something like that. But a lot of times, things like YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and stuff, they're hobbies for people. But it's still important to be happy with whatever you're doing. Whether it's an online social media presence, or you've got a shop, or you're doing stuff on Etsy, whatever. You need to remain happy. If you're not happy with what you're doing, then that's when you need to take a step back. You need to reflect on, do I want to continue to do this? And if so, what can I do to make things better, to make this more enjoyable for me? Because especially if it's a hobby, if it's not enjoyable, then why do it? Okay. So you have to understand going in that primarily things like YouTube are not going to be a money making opportunity. They're a labor of love. They have to be something that you want to spend time investing in, and you may become semi popular but not be making a bunch of money. I sit in on some people's live streams sometimes and see them, people just dropping $100, giving it to them. And that's okay. I mean, I'm not jealous of it or anything. But you just have to have the understanding that that is not everybody's path. Everybody's not going to come out of the gate. And then these people that are getting $100 from other people during their live streams, from super chats or whatever, you have to understand that probably starting out they wasn't getting that kind of stuff because nobody knew who they were. It takes time for you to get noticed, and a lot of times you have to get a niche, and once you get that niche and people recognize you, oh, that's that person, like for instance, I'm not saying people do this about me, but oh, hey, it's Evil Dead Chick. I know her. I know what kind of videos and streams and stuff that she does. But that's what happens with some of these more popular YouTubers out there, or Instagram people, or whatever, what have you. Is I don't like to call them influencers, but a lot of times that's what people refer to them as. When you get super, super popular and it seems like everybody knows your name, just like Cheers, that you do have some sort of influence on people. Whether it's their, music choices or the movie choices or the book choices or whatever. If somebody is really out there pounding the pavement and you take notice of them, in fact, several somebodies take notice of these people, then they come to respect your opinion on things. So in a way, you are an influencer. I just hate to use that term, right? But it's something that's out there in the vernacular. So, first of all, at the end of the day, you have to take a moment to reflect. And since we're focusing on social media presences, That's primarily what I'm going to focus on during this stream. Is at the end of the day, are you happy? Do you enjoy what you're doing? And being happy and having that enjoyment has to start with you. Because if you're not happy, if you're not enjoying it, it's going to be clear to the people that are watching you. And eventually those people are going to tune out. Okay. So if you're not happy doing it, maybe it's time to start building models or painting or sculpting or doing something. If you're not enjoying it, then why do it? And I'm not trying to talk people out of having a social media presence. But if you're miserable doing it, then why would you do it? Right? And I've seen some people that have a social media presence and they look as miserable can be when they're doing these streams or they're doing these videos, and you have to ask yourself, why do they keep doing it? Why don't they do something that makes them happy? So those are some of the ways that I say that at the end of the day, we need to kind of reflect. You know, if you've done a stream that day or that night, then take a step back every couple of days and say, you know, one, ask yourself, am I having a good time? And if the answer is no, maybe you need to consider doing something that would cause you to have fun. And the second thing you might want to ask yourself is, okay, right now I'm not making any money. Am I looking at this as a business opportunity, or am I looking at this as a way to share my interests with other people or my opinions with other people? And folks, I hate to say it, but if you're in it for a money-making venture and that's it, then maybe it's time to back up and punt and think about doing something else that maybe you could, you know, for sure make money off of, right? Like designing a clothing line or something like that, you know. Because a lot of people have a lot of different interests, right? You know, there nothing says that you got to have just one interest and that's it. You can have a multiple or a variety of interests. So, you know, those are a couple of questions that, you know, once or twice a week, you need to ask yourself. And I think that the more times that you do that, and if you get into a habit of doing that, you will get a better understanding of why you do the things you do, why you enjoy certain things, why you don't enjoy other things. Because, you know, like I've always said, people, if everybody was the same and everybody liked the same thing and everybody had the same opinion, this would be a very dull world. Okay. So we talked a little bit about reflection. Okay. So let's talk about the self-love club, the self-love part. And again, I'm not trying to be dirty. Don't anybody's minds go in the gutter when I talk about self-love. What I'm talking about when I talk about the self-love club is the ability to see your strengths, appreciate those strengths, and please don't laugh, but give yourself a hug once in a while, folks. Everybody needs a hug. And if nobody else is around to give you a hug, you give yourself a hug. You give yourself a pat on the back that says, hey, I did something worthwhile today. I did something that I enjoyed. Even if nobody else seemed to enjoy it, I enjoyed it. So it was important to me. And I love me. You know, I'm reminded of that scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when Steve Martin, his character really hurts John Candy's character's feelings. And, you know, John Candy's character says, I like me. My wife likes me. My customers like me. And so I think that we, you know, need to take a step back some days when stuff gets too much and say, hey, you know what? I love myself. Maybe if you aren't even feeling like that loving of yourself, at least say I like myself. My family likes me. My friends like me. If you're married, my spouse likes me. My spouse loves me. Right? And that's all you need. That is all you need. Because if we can't love ourselves, how can we expect anybody else to love us or like us? And if you don't like yourself or you don't love yourself, figure out why you don't. Because it's a very miserable place to be to hate on yourself all the time. There's enough people out there waiting to hate on you. You don't need to hate on yourself. So if you are doing that, you need to, even if you need to take a pencil and a piece of paper and say, why I don't like myself today. Okay? And once you've written that list or those couple of things, and that is correct, the poet, to thy own self be true. Once you've made that list, go through that list. And I bet if you think about it, you can find ways to reverse that. I'm just willing to bet I have total faith in you guys and gals that you could do that. Because once again, if you don't love yourself, if you don't even like yourself, how can you expect others to love and or like you? You know, and that can go into the social media presence as well. Because although I understand with some people, there is this mentality to kick somebody when they're down. But the important thing to remember is that not everybody's like that. Some people will be willing to help you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and maybe give you a good swift kick in the butt sometimes when you're just, woe is me, I can't do anything. Because, folks, you can do basically anything that you want to do, anything that you set out to do. Again, if it makes you happy to do it and it's not hurting you or hurting anybody else, then please follow that. Like the poet said, to thine own self be true. And, you know, I'm not wanting to come on here and sound like I'm a preacher or something like that or one of these self help people. I know of where I speak. I've been there, I've done that, I've wallowed in my own miserable self pity, and I still do it from time to time. We are flawed individuals, folks. Are we going to slip sometimes? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Don't think just because you dug yourself out of the mud one time that you're never going to slip down into that dirty mud puddle again and have to pull yourself up out of there and clean yourself off. And, you know, that's something important to remember too, because just because you escape from one mud puddle doesn't mean there's not going to be one a few feet up the road. that you're going to fall in again. That's just the way life is. But you just got to keep pulling yourself out of those mud puddles. And you know what? Eventually, you will see those mud puddles before you fall into them. And guess what? You'll be able to step around them or jump over them or whatever. And you won't get as dirty as you once did. You won't be down in that nasty mud, splashing around, uh, getting it in your mouth and your hair and everywhere else on your clothes. And it will become easier and easier and easier to stay out of those mud puddles. But you got to practice. Practice makes perfect, right? So you got to think of these things every day and watch out for those mud puddles. Watch out for those tar pits. Dare I say it, there are some tar pits around. But just try your best to prevent yourself from falling into those, right? So again, I don't want to beat a dead horse with these things. If people want to discuss these things further with me, hey, the next time I do one of these, which I'm planning on doing these every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time until I run out of ideas to talk about. But if you want to ask me anything, if you want to ask how I deal with certain things, please, write those down. And the next time I have one of these, ask me. We got time. We got time to do that. So I haven't given y'all homework for a while, and I don't know if anybody actually does the homework, which is fine. But remember when I said, you should make a list of all the reasons why. Here's what you can do. You can make all the reasons, you can write down all the reasons why you do like yourself today. But if you're not liking yourself today, then write down all the reasons that you don't like yourself today. And I want you to think about how you can change that, right? Because you can change. You can change. You're not stuck in the same place, folks. You don't have to stay stuck in that same mentality. And don't let anybody, not family, not friends, not some troll that comes on your YouTube channel, never, ever make anybody make you feel less than, because you're not less than, folks. Each and every one of you out there are very important. And if you weren't around, you would be missed. I know sometimes that's hard for people to wrap their heads around, but it's true, folks. Even if it's one person, that one person would miss you if you weren't around. Or maybe it's not a person, maybe it's a pet. Pets are important too. Dogs, cats, fish, guinea pigs, parakeets, snakes, spiders, iguanas, bearded dragons, my little dormouse Ozzy. I'm sure that he would miss me if I wasn't around to bother him or whatever. But I just want you to think about those things. If you don't want to write it down, at least think about the things that I have said on here. And if you don't want to bring up questions the next time I do one of these, which should be next Sunday, put them in the comments, but don't keep it to yourself. If you want to know, you have to ask. And I just want to give you multiple ways to ask. Or if you just want to express something, please do so. I want you guys and gals to do that. So before I start talking around in circles and start beating a dead horse, I want to thank the poet for being in here and keeping me company and having some tea with me. I really appreciate it. And the quote, to thy own self be true, I appreciate that, the poet. You are very insightful. Um, and I always love it when you and others um, throw those things out there, because I think that's very, very important. So I guess that is it for me for this edition of My Path to Becoming a Positive Renegade. Be sure to tune in next Sunday if you can for chapter 9, which we'll be talking about banishing the green-eyed monster, folks. So be sure to tune in for that if you can. And for those of you that maybe were watching along, but you either didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, or you were watching this live stream on a device where you were unable to chat at the same time you were watching, like a smart TV, I want to thank you for tuning in as well. And for those of you that couldn't join me live tonight, but will watch this on the replay, I appreciate all of you guys and gals as well. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday night, folks, and I'll see everybody next time.
I wanna be a positive renegade, making changes for the better.